playing games as far back as they were making them, you know, a lot of things that I would see in these RPG type games would, you know, you'd see these like really incredible cinematic story scenes, and you get into the battle and you'd be like, oh, this isn't at all what I thought this game was going to be.
That's exactly true. I mean,
and now there's not any gap really anymore.
No. Final Fantasy X was one of those games that really, really affected me. It had a gaming moment that I've just not repeated since then. And I got the game, I'm playing it overnight at 3 o'clock in the morning, and my 5-year-old daughter, hi Rocky, is out there, and she's sleeping on the couch with me, playing the game with me. And to me, that is the most meaningful thing I can ever do. But she would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and she'd say, Daddy, use the blue dragon. And that wasn't in a cinematic. That wasn't in just any fight scene. That was, she wanted to use the blue dragon because it was cool. It wasn't the best hit points. It wasn't the best power. It wasn't the best numbers. It was just the thing to do because it felt emotionally right to someone that was 5. And how cool is that?
I can't disagree with that. I mean, that is, blue dragons are awesome by anyone's standards. So, I mean, has the Final Fantasy series, particularly this one, has this influenced, you know, the types of jobs that you will take or directions that you will try to go in when you start on a project?
It's pure inspiration. I mean, it makes you think anything is possible. I mean, you know, when you think about the definition of big game, what is a big game? These games are bigger than big. You take that box, you open it up, and you go into that world. It's bigger than anything you could even imagine. It's like they're sitting in a room, and they're going, what's 10? We need to deliver 15, 20 to completely blow someone's mind and take them into a world they can't even believe someone could have come up with. And that's very inspiring creatively, and it's a hell of a bar.
Well, it is, and it also, I mean, it's just part of that engine that has to drive the pace of advancement. You know, like it's like I have it in my fields too, like with comedy or hosting, or I'm like, damn you, Joel McHale, why are you so funny? And then you try to step it up even more. I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same way about this as well.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has just also changed, like the kind of people we even have on our teams. I mean, as we're talking about the sort of cinematic experience, a lot of it is, I mean, now we have to hire people that have cinematography degrees and things like that. And you know, before a lot of how, you know, Final Fantasy has been pushing it, before that, you know, I mean, we were kind of, I wouldn't say stuck in our world of some game, some movie, some game, some movie. But now, because it is almost all the same thing, we even have to look at our staff from the standpoint of who we need on our games and what do we need them to do.
Right. I mean, we were watching the Oscars last night. Was any part of you like, that movie didn't look so hard to make, you know, because like what you guys do is so just insane. You're creating these entire worlds and battle systems.
Well, Final Fantasy looks really hard to make.
Yeah.
We never have that doubt.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 types of games out there, right? There's games that are just the Matrix. All I see are numbers. All I see is hit points. All I see is this will do +3 damage. And you know, you go to certain games, and that's all the stats you see because that's what people talk about in lunch breaks. Is this is the +20 sword? When you play Final Fantasy, there is no Matrix. And it's created a world, and you know, so few games actually think beyond the Matrix to actually create a world.
But the stats are pretty good though. Like the min-max games of the best of Final Fantasy stuff, like it's got a great replayability value because you really want to maximize. But
what Final Fantasy does for me is it takes those stats away. I don't care.
Right.
I want the glowing sword because the glowing sword is cool.
Fight.
Geez, you can't explain them to anybody what they are. They are these surreal creations. I mean, I have to confess, I cheated. I have been playing the Japanese version already. And you know, what do? The first scene, you fight a 70-foot-long flying scorpion robot with a sword, and it drops potions. And you just can't explain that kind of thing to a non-gamer.
Exactly. What did you do?
Well, I picked up the potions and fought the next enemy.
Wait, I don't understand. Is that like getting a bank job? No, it's not like working at a bank.
You know, Final Fantasy X, you're playing it, and the first thing you find out is everybody's dead. Spoiler alert. Everybody's dead in Final Fantasy X. And as you keep playing the game, then later on you find out, no, it was all a dream. Where do these stories come from? I mean, it's great, and it's great because it's not trying to adhere to any kind of formula. It just is.
Right.
Well, throughout the series, there's also a sense of betrayal. I mean, your best friend is your enemy, your father's your enemy. You know, it keeps on turning around. That bad guy is never really the bad guy. So the twists in the story, too, are something which really affect you. And I think it's also done a good job there of just really keeping you on the edge of your seat throughout the game. It's not just, 40 hours to the big boss battle that's, 70 foot tall. And, when the big boss battle's over, it's like, no, it's not really the end. The evil guy's going to come out behind the curtain now, and oh my God, he's even more power. Look who it is! It's just incredible.
But also, I mean, like, I noticed, because we did some stuff for fans earlier today, and there was a lot of Final Fantasy cosplay. And I go to the Comic-Cons, I go to E3, I'm there, and I see people dressed up as these characters. I mean, what is it about these characters that you think is so sticky to people that, because I don't see that. I certainly didn't see it when I was younger. No one had a big yellow ball, and they're like, I'm Pac-Man. Like, that never happened when I was a kid. Now it's acceptable. But, what is it?
I think the key to some of that is the silhouette of the character, really. I think the Final Fantasy, some of the more popular characters have a very strong silhouette. It's kind of like you can identify them way from a distance. It's like you can identify them in the dark. That is just like visually, I mean, it speaks well to the cinematic, but it also speaks well to like the strong character design. It's just, it's definitive. It doesn't try to just, it doesn't whimper. It just go all the way. It's extreme. And I think that is part of the appeal of the game, is that everything is extreme. The fights are extreme, the boss is extreme, the characters are extreme, and people want to spend the effort to make those characters because it is so different or shocking and unique. You can identify right away, and I think that's the kind of experience that like a good game should provide to people. It's that sort of be something that is completely impossible in reality. Otherwise, why play a game? That's right.
And I think there's characters that they can identify with. So along with the strong silhouette, just the personalities of each of the characters themselves, people identify with individually, and then that's the kind of one that they want to dress up as.
Tremendous attention to detail and fearless storytelling. Absolutely fearless storytelling. You can't be afraid of going someplace. You can't be paranoid or wonder what someone will think, and to see it done so beautifully, that's the remarkable.
We pull back.
We pull back. We're afraid to have a quiet moment between a father and a son, right, or a daughter and a mother. But this is why I call it fearless. Right. It's just not afraid.
I would say we're a lot of American games are also afraid to deviate from reality. Mm-hmm. I guess that's our biggest thing. We just seem to have this solid lockdown in our brain that we just can't be like, that doesn't even remotely possibly happen in real world.
Right.
And then we kind of edit ourselves there. And what's really nice about their games and their characters is that they not only are they willing to take the narrative risk you just mentioned, but it's also just what he mentioned, which is just impossibly non-realistically possible things that happen, just keep bombarding you with that. And I think, as creative people and game makers, even game programmers and creative people, we need to start breaking that barrier, and we start to make things and give experiences that are completely impossible, and the best of Final Fantasy series have already done that.
One of the weirdest things that happened to me with Final Fantasy is I'd actually dream about the game. I would, go to bed at night after playing it, maybe because it's played all night and then go to bed and dream. But you'd actually dream about those characters, and you dream about what they were doing, and you felt part of their life.
Just like them in life, like going to the store and stuff, or do you mean like?
Oh, hanging out at Starbucks, having coffee. No, you feel like they're part of your life. You feel like you're friends with them. You feel like they are actually part of you. And so few games get that connection with you. I mean, as much as I love my favorite shooter games, I never feel that same connection to them as I did with playing that RPG game all the way through, playing Final Fantasy and seeing the results of their journey. And each game is a journey, and you get the sense of that going along with it. And the little insights are just huge. And I don't care about the fighting or anything along the way. It's all about that journey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a guy that's still, as recently as a couple years ago, was still. Some water? Does anyone else want a room full of strangers? I mean, I was playing D&D up until like 2 years ago. And thank you for not laughing at me, by the way. I appreciate that. I appreciate your tacit support. But what?
At least you didn't play LARP, light action roleplay.
No, not LARPing.
No, it was not LARPy. It was not LARPy. It was just like 5 nerds sitting at a table being like, magic missile. It was that kind of stuff. But just the idea that you can bring that experience, that something looks as good as, like if I look at Avatar and I look at this and I go, yeah, this looks just as good to me. But I get to control this.